Okay, so there's a couple different ways we can go about this. All right, my name's Lil Spicy. If you didn't already know, I'm sure you did. I've been fighting for about 12-ish years now. I'm a heavy cross gamer, play amp guard, play dag, play bell, and whatever else the objective is to touch them with a stick. It usually works pretty well. For those of you who know anything about amp guard, I'm about this close to getting the Warlord title, and then after that it'll be Sword Night, which is like their tournament award for winning tournaments and such. I am a sword board main. It's my strongest category in all the tournaments I go to, and I like sometimes doing field battles with sword and board, but as I get old and rickety, it's a lot of energy, and we'll cover all that in a little bit, and on what you need to be doing on the field if you're going to keep rocking sword and board. So there's a few thought processes. We're going to cover the field stuff first because I feel like that's faster and easier. The only shot you need to know for field stuff is a chop. You don't need to know anything else. Chop and be in the right spot. And being a boardman is about kind of looking for the right openings and knowing that you as a boardman do not make the openings. Unless you're going to come in and blast somebody up with like a bash or something and you have a coordinated attack with people following you through, which never fucking happens. I don't care who you are. Unless you have a 20-person unit and they're actually listening to somebody, it doesn't happen. Okay? The amount of times when I first started, boo, 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 and there's fucking 15 people hit me, look back, nobody moved. Well, what the hell? Because I didn't tell nobody. You know what I mean? You're not talking to your people. Flanking is probably the most important thing for a boardman, or trying to use your pulls to create a hole. Boardmans don't create holes, boardmen exploit them. They're basically Florentine fighters, but they're just harder to kill. Use your reds, use your spears. I think the best way to do it is to kill 3 people standing next to each other. Now you've created a hole. You know what I mean? Put 2 spears, 2 reds next to each other, ba ba bam bam bam. 3 people, you run in there with a boardman, we're gonna get around people. Boom, you got your hole. And then you just chop. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Any other questions for field stuff? Because it's really probably the in-depth of field stuff that we really just need. What is some of the favorite shots that you guys like to throw? Who knows shots?
I like throwing a high cross feint
Praise
into.
Jesus. All right, that is a combo, sir. It's not a shot. Shot is just this. That is a shot. This is a shot. This is a shot. Make sense?
Yeah.
Everything else is a combo, a setup, or whatever. So we're gonna run through some shots. Then I feel like 5 or 6 shots, and that's pretty much all you need for all the fighting. Everything else is a derivative of these shots. Okay, so we have a high cross, get in your guard. We have a high cross. We have a shoulder, board side shoulder, board side hip, or butt wrap. We have a money, which is a little harder to throw in dag. Money just hits sword side hip. Of course, we got a leg shot. We have a dark side. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's about it. Oh, well, and a wrap. But we're not covering wraps because I don't cover wraps. So those are your 7-ish shots besides the stab. Every combo, every named thing is a derivative of that. The whole point, the key to fighting someone on a one-on-one, obviously, is to land your kill shot. But in my region, we're gonna throw about 3 or 4 shots, and only the last one is meant to land. Okay? Because I'm trying to get you to move your equipment. For example, defend yourself.
Yep. Yep.
See how far his equipment moved?
Mm-hmm.
That was easy. Now defend yourself again.
Yep.
And that was high cross, board side feint, money feint, board side. Super simple. Didn't even use my feet. Okay. That's a pretty, I would say, a higher level kind of combo feint technique kind of deal, but that's really all it is. You know what I mean? And everything can be derived from that. Okay. And so what I would tell you is get your repertoire of your 3 or 4 or 5 different shots that you like to throw, of the shots I showed. Practice them. I am a big believer that you should have a high cross. I love high crosses. Board side, simple. I do not throw butt wraps. I am bad at them. I feel like if I'm already here, I can't do anything else. If I'm here, I can't really spin. I can't really like come across this way. And so it takes a lot of options away from me. So I like to stay high, and from here, I can throw money, I can throw back, I can throw shoulder, I can throw high cross. But if I'm like this, I lose a lot of those options. But if you like butt wraps, it's a good shot, by all means. Put that in your repertoire. And I would find 3 or 4 shots that you really like and you really practice them at home, and then use them. Make people respect them. Make people respect that you have a butt shot, right? Like if you know I can hit you in the butt, you can defend yourself. Okay? And we're using the fact that I can throw the shot very well and go into something else. Okay? And that's basic combos. And you just come up with those different combos, and you're gonna find a lot more success than just like and you're gonna last a lot longer in the fight. Because we're not doing these big motions, this and this. We're staying very crisp. High cross, forward, hip, butt wrap. We're gonna find a lot more success in that way. I'm gonna show an interesting kind of combo opener I like to throw. It's gonna favor tall people. I'm sorry. It's a shield side shot, and it's gonna have some footwork to it. And footwork is very important because we're dealing with 2D planes. Okay, this is a bad example because it's a dome, but most of the time this is a 2D plane. And for example, if you're the fighter and you make the shield look like this 2D plane is now 2 or 3 inches, and that's pretty easy to hit around now, right? You know what makes that happen? Footwork. Okay? And that's what the basis of this next combo is going to be. So if we're fighting, nobody starts like this. Not a single tournament you're ever going to see anyone start in with it able to hit each other. Never. So we're always going to practice our footwork stepping into our fight. Okay? I'm a big fan of high cross openers, because if I take my step forward, because I can't reach him from here, take my step forward, I can hit him, boom. What is he not doing as I hit here?
Attacking.
Right, he's not throwing. During this time, I can do whatever I fucking want. I can stop for a fucking cup of tea, whatever. In that microsecond that he's doing blocking, I can do whatever I want, okay? This high cross opener, you can put into everything else you're gonna do. But for today, we're gonna do this, high cross open, okay? As I step forward, 1, here, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Big step to the 45, okay? We're gonna go 1, 2, and we're gonna bring this leg behind me, and I get straight back aligned, okay? Don't move. Okay? The whole purpose of this is to make this 2D look much smaller. Defend your shoulder. Defend your shoulder. That's the size your shoulder is. I can stick it from here. Come on now. Okay? Now don't move. The purpose is don't move. Granted, it's a little unrealistic, but faster it'll work. Okay? We're gonna go 1, 2, and 3. As my foot straightens, I can't see his shoulder. Okay? And what's happening here is that this sword, instead of fighting the board like this, it's becoming like this. There's a lot less material in the way, okay? And also, function of the sword can never hit below the pommel. Does that make sense? So if the pommel is below the block, it's never gonna happen. You know, turn this way. It's never gonna hit over. The pommel has to be above the blocking surface to hit behind it. And this is touching his shoulder now. Does that make sense? Short people especially. This is what's important, okay? So
I gotta reach up real high.
yeah, I understand. So as you see, I'm putting my hand above his board, and this is also the premise of a wrap, but we're not teaching wraps today. And I'm hitting his shoulder, okay? We're gonna do it together. You can do it in place. We'll pair off in pairs in a second, but like just do it in place. Pretend your opponent's in front of you. We're gonna take 1 step forward, hand cross 1.
Carlos.
Step across to the 45 2.
Lefty.
We're gonna straighten out 3. Land. That make sense?
Yes.
There's no feet crossing. My feet are very safe. Go ahead and pair. You're too fucking tall. You two, you and me. Okay. Left foot first. There you go. Oops. Step to the 45. Right? Yep. Left foot behind you. Correct. Yep. Okay. Yep. And ideally, extend your sword again. Ideally, we're hitting on the very edge. We're as far away as possible.
That way they can't.
Correct, because if you put your sword here, say I catch the block, your shield side's very far, and all you have to do is block your sword arm, and you have a punch, so it can.
Well, it's so
Does that make sense? And I have to fight over my equipment to get you. Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Right. Okay.
All right. Go.
So actually, it would be this way.
Yep. Remember. Hi. There you go. Hi. There you go.
Relax to it.
There you go. Left foot forward. Little step. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. We're gonna pick up our hand up here to block ourselves, because if it's down here, we're gonna hit in the shoulder. Here. 3. Straighten up. Nice and tall. Does that make sense? Yeah.
That was my head.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
That's as far. Try to throw to his board side.
Oh, mine right
You
now.
try to throw to your board side. He can't touch your board side.
Even if I step, I'm just like, oh my god, it's so far away.
Right. And if you need to protect your arm, you can just swing this a little bit, because your board side's protected, and you're good to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Do it slow.
Okay, so what
Boom.
you did
2.
was
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you real quick,
and then like while you're
between 1 and 2, they're going to go 1. And as I'm stepping this way, I'm not doing this to rechamber. I don't need to rechamber. I have momentum on my side. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to leave. This is called clogging the lane.
Okay.
Okay? Because he can't throw a high cross right now. He can't throw a high cross. He can barely throw to my board. This gets in the way of everything.
Okay.
I'll let him go to his leg. That's fine, because I'm going to come here and hit him in this side.
Okay.
Okay? So as I go to 1, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. Make sense?
Yeah.
So make sure you leave this somewhere up here, because you're strong enough to leave this here and go.
Yeah.
You are strong enough, I promise. Okay?
Okay.
You do it on him there.
Swing
Your pommel's lobe under the board. So pick up your hand. Good. Do it again. Okay. Another thing we'll touch here is that whenever you're doing footwork, you don't want the shot to land mid footwork. It needs to end altogether. So notice, if I'm going to this side, right? And if the point is for me to look like this at the end of it, but I'm throwing here, I'm not creating the angle I would have here. This is different than here. Does that make sense? So, because you're throwing and landing when you're halfway through and you can't necessarily get there, where once I put this, that's hit.
Okay.
That's how a lot of shots are missed mid footwork. Go in here. Foot has paused. And as soon as this hits, I'm letting it rip. Okay? Try that again. Your sword's up, but if I do this, you can't high cross me, right? So as I'm traveling, boom, here, holding 3. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I'm standing up real tall. My feet and shoulder are aligned, so I can get the best out of my sword. Boom.
Okay.
Because if I'm like this, look at my sword tip, and if I do this, my shoulder takes the sword away. So it's so important to be lined up with the sword real fast. You get all the range out of it as possible. Make sense?
One more time.
Yep.
one shot that like
So right of range. This is how people start. Left foot. 1, 2. Blocking yourself. 3. Bring this over.
Okay.
so that
You have a very put together
Rotate,
foot.
so your opponent would
footwork,
turn
and you keep
with
your stuff very together.
but
You don't necessarily have 1, 2
I always
steps.
end up
You have groups of steps. Does anyone know how to throw a dark side?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. I don't like throwing dark sides. Okay.
Why? What's up?
I have the staunch opinion that a dark side just means you can't throw money. Okay. Simply, money is faster because it's in front of you, and it's longer range because you don't have to do this. Does that make sense? It may sometimes be deceptive, but the point of those 2 shots is to attack the sword side hit. That is the whole point. As long as you have an attack for the sword side hit that is fast, good, and clean, and strong, because we're playing Dag, or Hearthlight, or whatever bullshit game we're playing, nice and hard enough, that's the trick. The problem with the dark side is that unless without the right muscles, you have to wind up to get enough force out of it. And if you're doing it like that, it's going to be very, very, very slow. And I don't like that. And the dark side is going to lead into the combo we just learned. Those of you who don't have all the muscles, you can move when I tell you to move. For those of you who don't have the muscles, I need you to go home, get a pel, get a couch, take your stick, take a stick you don't like, take a heavy stick, because this is the same kind of position we're in on a dark side, right? Take this, think elbow down, and hit your target, right? Boom. Boom. And slowly. And that's without any body mechanics. It's just my arm and my shoulder. You don't want to throw it with just your arm and your shoulder. Go home, practice that. Think elbow down, then the rear hip. This hip needs to come forward to throw that energy into the shot. Okay? It's also good to throw it with your hip forward and think about throwing this right hip. An interesting phenomena, I would say, or body anatomy, is that whatever side the sword is on, the foot that, okay, the best way to have the most range is to follow the sword with the foot that side is on. That's a weird way to say that. But, for example, a lot of people like to throw high cross like this, or dark side like this. That's fine. The angle's a little shallower, but if I were to switch my feet to the exact same spot, I get so much more range out of it. Okay? That's because the sword is on my left side and my left foot is forward. Okay? So practicing on both feet is important, but understanding that your range either is increased or decreased on which foot's forward. So using the combo that we did earlier, I'm gonna come here 1, 2, 3. They're gonna block their shoulder into a dark side. That make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if I get to 1, 2, and they take a step back, left foot forward into a dark side. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yes. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do the no movement on the first one. 1, 2, 3. Where it goes to block the shoulder, he has to block the shoulder.
Yep.
That's how it works. Or you can hit arm up there. The other version, you're gonna take a step back on 1, 2, take a step back, 3. I'm gonna take my step forward. Does that make sense? And the purpose is that first combo was getting that board to move up, and then we're going back down. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, please practice that.